Welcome to selfdiscoverymedia.com, where we discover the communities that are making a difference in the lives of others. Our self-discovery is something we are all making on our life's journey. Here you will find the people that will be your guidance, that will be your inspiration, that will be there for you in support on your journey of life. Do enjoy. Our next show is... Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Building Your Business, right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. My name is Sara, your host here for today, and my guest is Dimitry. Dimitry is from Guatemala, and he is Dimitry Ortiz. Am I pronouncing that right?
Ortiz, yes.
Ortiz. And due to wonderful COVID-19 that's affected the rest of the world, there's a lot of people that have had to redirect their careers because their careers are maybe just not there anymore. And of course, doing things online is kind of the next step to go in. And so he has this wonderful program called the FreeCodeCamp. And it's about learning how to code so that you can get into new jobs, tech jobs, and open up a new opportunity for you, because there is plenty of opportunity out there. It's just a question of maybe you need new skills in order to adapt to them. So Dimitry, where have you come from that has led you down this path at the present moment?
Okay, thank you for having me. And yes, I would love to answer that. I graduated high school. I went to Europe on an ecclesiastical mission for 2 years in Italy. And when I came back from Europe, I really didn't have any direction. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have any colleges or universities picked. And I was able to have the opportunity that my brother-in-law, he's from Dominican Republic, had married my sister, and he was living in upstate New York at this time, Syracuse. He had jumped in the wagon of the networking administration, where he was able to actually tell me his secret on how to get into the IT field fast and without too long and too much of experience. And this at the time was, you got to understand, Sarah, at this time, many companies were working still with mainframes. In other words, those green screens and these ugly computers that just all you could do is just type in, and that's about it. There was no GUI, graphic user interface. And so he was, like I said, able to jump into the IT field really fast. And he pretty much showed me the same shortcut. What he did is that he mentioned the MCSE, which is Microsoft Certified System Engineering certifications that you could still get today. And obviously there's been more and more certifications that grew from there, but those were the main ones at that time. So if you were to just, so that's exactly what he said. He said, listen, if you get certified, you read these books, you get your certification, you can go and get a job. This was in 1998, okay? Beginning of right before, the dot-com boom and right before that. And so many companies were migrating from only working in a mainframe environment and migrating to real networks, in other words, servers and such. And so that's exactly what I did, Sarah. I borrowed some money from my mom to get this stack of books that was all their certifications. This included server base for like corporate email, database administration, file server, and so any type of server administration that I could get into. And as anybody knows, if you're going to jump into networking, you have to know your software. So I got myself that big, just heavy A+ Bible that you have to study a lot and pass the test. And so to be honest, it took about 6 months, I would say, Sarah, a deep dive of just every day hitting the books. And really going, and I'll be honest, going from not even having a computer in my home, the only computers at the time had been from school, and even the school computers didn't have that much internet.
The old dial-up, everything else.
Dial-up, oh, you remember that.
Oh, I do.
We were dealing with that, and so that's when I was able. So this is the reason I emphasize that is that so that people understand that you don't have to come from a heavy use of. I mean, everybody at this point has more experience in computers than what I did when I started.
Exactly. I do think though that certain people have to be wired in a different way. I run this podcast network, and I do all the graphics, and I do, you know, all the shows, the editing, the everything else. But when it comes to the coding and the background, it's not a language I understand. But I know that for some people, it's just something they can just read, you know, like as if they're reading an ordinary language or reading an ordinary book, and even see where code is missing because they're wired that way. Do people have to have a particular aptitude to be able to see coding in a way? Because I know maybe I'm just too old, and I also see patterns in a different way, but it doesn't require someone to have a different view set on order to be a coder.
You know, I used to think the same thing about 20 years ago, and that's the reason why I also decided not to go for programming. It intimidated me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and this is a great point that you brought up, Sarah, because I want to break trends here. I want to break that same mentality that has, because see, this is the reason why I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
This is the reason why, this is the message that I bring. Sarah, I am an extrovert. I am an incredible social animal that just goes everywhere. I've traveled all around the world. I've traveled, when it comes to the US, I know every state. When it comes to races, I have hung out with every race. And so I am not your typical programmer. Because normally, if you think of a programmer, you think of an eccentric guy. I mean, I'm going by generalization.
Right.
You know?
Generalization, yeah.
A generalization, you know, you think about a programmer as in somebody eccentric, introvert, somebody that was like maybe a schoolboy in high school, not many friends. Might have been the thing of the past. But now, if you think about it, because so much has been exposed to many, for example, using applications on their phones daily, you don't have to be a person that has to be in front of a computer like it used to be back then.
Yes.
You know, and if you look at things, we're you know, the fourth revolution is here, and we have been exposed to so many things that I would think it's a different thing. It's a different, I believe it's a different environment now. Not only that, but see, when people think about programming, they think COBOL, which was like a very old and very hardcore language that had to be used for mainframes. And then they think about JavaScript, or Java, C++, and many others that are very difficult to understand because they're more in the back end. But see, now we have different things like, for example, web design, which, you know, you can think more artistically than coder. You know what I mean? So I want to just emphasize that I feel that technology is like for everybody now. Because now you can be a web designer, you can be a graphic designer, computer designer, and you can do different things, different kind of codes. Now, and I want to remind you also, for example, I actually, now that I'm a web development consultant, and I started actually with WordPress, which have themes and have very easily accessed drag and drop.
This is what this entire network is, WordPress. Yes.
You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And you can do that without coding. So you can start getting involved. You can get your feet, you know, on the cold water a little bit easier than what it used to be. You know what I mean? And so
I will agree with that completely, because I mean, if you had told me 8 years ago when I started podcasting, I was working for a different network at that time, but 7 years ago, I started my own networking, and I had no idea what I was doing. I had a WordPress, somebody had set it up basically for me, and literally everything had to be learned through necessity. And if you told me I'm going to do all the editing, I'm going to do all, you know, not the background coding, because with WordPress, you know, they have the other way of doing it. But I never would have thought I could have done any of this, you know, because I just didn't think I was computer lit. So, you know, if I really wanted to, I suppose I could learn the coding. It's not for me, but I understand today the opportunities that are there, because we are just, this is not going away. This is just constant expansion, and the creativity of where it's going, and even the AI of where it's going. I mean, the opportunities are exponential at the present moment, aren't they?
Yes, yes. And this is exactly why I am here to speak loud and clear and get the message across that we don't have to be, we don't have to come out of the show Big Bang Theory in order to feel comfortable. Yes. I am definitely not that kind of guy. I mean, I have long hair. I love dancing. If you look at my videos on LinkedIn, you'll notice that I sing, I act, I dance, I do everything that nobody would ever do if they were programming. So this is the reason why. Oh, and another thing I wanted to tell you, I am taking on the challenge of teaching my 63-year-old mother that just recently retired, that just came to live with me because I promised her when I was 13, if she wasn't living with anybody, she would live with me. And now she's gracing me with her company, I am going to teach her to program. And this is the reason why I want to do it. Because even somebody that has never had a computer in her life, she never really cared. We gave her smartphones all the time, laptops, and she only put them aside because exactly, it's that mentality that we are intimidated by things that we don't understand.
Yes.
But once we start to, you know, get a little bit involved, they're like, it's almost like languages too, you know? If you look at people, see, I lived in Europe. And so in Europe, I met people that spoke 7 languages and that was normal. And then I came back to the US and, you know, people normally speak only 1 language. And so as you can see, it's not the ability it's not that Europeans are more intelligent. It's not that they have a better understanding of what it is in their head that they can learn in languages. It's just the mentality, how you look at them. See,
but it's also what you're exposed to.
Exactly.
I mean, if you're brought up with the multiple languages, that's different. If you're brought up, I mean, look at the kids today with computers. All right, you know, they just are constantly exploring and, oh, you could just do this. So how do I do that? Look at a YouTube, and there they go. You know, because they're exploring. If we've been brought up, I mean, I'm 65, so my first computer was at 47. And it became an eye-opener for me and allowed me, because I have dyslexia, so it allowed me to do things that I, you know, otherwise hadn't been able to do. And of course, here I am now with an online network. But if we're willing to kind of push the envelope, we'll actually discover that we can do so much more than we thought we could. And the limitations we put upon ourselves are just that, limitations we put on ourselves. And it's just, and a lot of thing I think comes into judgment, failure. You know, oh, I don't want to try in case I fail. I don't want to look a fool. And you know how Einstein, was it 1,000 light bulbs? You know, and everything else that we have at our hands today, did they work it out on the first try? No.
Thomas Edison had to try over 1,000 times to get the bulb.
Yeah, exactly. So you just keep at it. And you may find, okay, this direction I'm really good in, I'm going to go in that one. This direction, not quite my forte. But if you aren't willing to explore, how are you going to know?
Yes. And the reason why I think we do have to, you know, kind of like talk about it a little more is because exactly that reason. People don't talk about it. And see, people need to understand that it is possible. There are softwares that you can start from zero ground. There are places that have like this already set up. You don't even need to install anything in your computer now. Sarah, you can just go into the websites and they even have this already set up systems where you can already start typing and you look at the things that are already starting to, that never happened 20 years ago.
No.
I remember that you had to buy all the books, most of the books. And something that I want to tell people, when it comes to, you know, it's the 4th revolution and that means that technology it's, you know, when you look at AI, you look at machine learning, you look at the things that are happening in job market, how it's going to be altered and changed. You know, it's going to require people to understand, not only because there's going to be intelligent computers and there's going to have to be a change in attitudes and people training to operate these machines. So we have to already start to embrace that change because see, we're hard to change, you know, we get used
boy, I know. This is the basis of most of the shows we do, is embracing the change. You know, we're not meant to stay stagnant. You know, everything in life is fluidity. And we must be in that flow and that willing to always adapt. Now you can find something you love and you can dance within that and explore and see where it goes, you know, find your niche. But if we're not willing to explore, how do we know what we can do? Exactly. How do we know if we like it or not? And, you know, it's just that willingness to say, I have no, this has been me all my life. I conned myself into every job by saying I could do it and then learned when I got there, you know, because it's like basically every job is basically customer relations and then learning the pattern of the company, the pattern of what you're doing, and really coding is patterning, isn't it?
Yeah. And you know, and as you mentioned, let me remind everyone that these are languages. In other words, you already speak a language, and so you need to understand. And if anybody took Spanish or you know, German, French in school, even though sometimes they might have not been the best classes and it might have not been the most interest, that we were exposed to something of the kind. And so we're talking about the same thing. And I can guarantee you, a polyglot like myself that speaks 5 languages, human languages, I can tell you that programming is a lot easier.
Yes. Yeah, because with programming, it's, you know, it's the kind of, the only thing is, and tell me what you think of this, is that when I was trying to learn things, it would be something for dummies, you know, and the only frustrating thing I had in trying to learn anything is that you follow the book on the dummies. It's the different language to what you were being asked for when you were actually on the computer. And that just blew my mind. You know, are we seeing more consistency of universal language now in application rather than everybody's got its own language in
Oh
coding?
yeah, yeah. As a matter of fact, Facebook just introduced a transfer language over very. That what it does is that you write it in one language and it translates it into another,
Yeah,
almost like if it was Google Translate.
right.
So, and this is the thing that I'm telling you right now is like an amazing time to get into it because things have gotten a lot easier, a lot simpler, a lot approachable. The access to these resources, and this is what's amazing, Sarah, is one of the best career paths, as in when it comes to pay job. Oh my goodness! Like
Yes.
the average of is $75,000 to $125,000 a year, and it's like it blows my mind that a career that is like the dominant future.
Yep.
And is one of the best paying jobs. You can get everything free online, and not only that, but then now we have so many they're like communities that have been developed, and that's what I can tell you, that in my experience I have not seen doctors or lawyers or any other career that has a community behind you, that once you start learning, they are there for you to answer questions, to give you advice, to you know, to tell you where to come. We have a thing that is called GitHub, where it's a depository where we code and put our open source. Open source means that anybody can use it.
Yes.
And it's like you contribute to the world. Open source projects have equivalent of $5 billion that we have saved the people just because we have been, you know, contributing to the world. And this is what I love about programmers. We have a huge community. Everybody helps each other. Nobody's there to go, oh no, you're gonna take my business away. It's like not that mentality. It's beautiful. You know what I mean? Like I have never seen anything like that. So
yeah, no, I have a friend, a colleague who I used to, I backed an electric motor of his, and a long story, very, very short, is that the motor actually became a quantum motor, and it was before its time. But out of that understanding, mathematical fractal understanding, and along with a few other things I exposed him to, he has actually developed kind of an identification of personality types that you go to in a ring. I can never articulate it very well. But anyway, Microsoft was so impressed by it that they're now incorporating it in the AI. Right. Yeah. So, you know, that, and he's very much a believer in open source, because it's like, it's not just one mind, it's one mind stimulating and inspire another mind. And it's rather like cooking. You know, oh, have you tried a little spice there? How about we put this there? I never knew it could taste like that. Again, be adventurous and allow other people to participate, because that's where you really do see the growth. And when we're looking at this industry today, I watched a very good documentary. I can't remember the name of it, but it was about a couple of men who had closed down coal mines in America. And at this point, they had closed down 9 coal mines. And what they had done is taken to re-educate everybody into computerization. And so now these people were not putting their lives at risk. They were earning a great deal more money. They were working from home. They had a much safer future. And they never thought that they could go from coal mining into computerization, but it's changed their lives completely. And if we really do look at it, I mean, this COVID has certainly done that, as everybody's being forced to be at home. How many people are actually going to go back into the office? Exactly. So many people are going to stay working at home now. And the demand for more things to be done online. Oh, there isn't a program for that yet. Okay, let's create one.
Exactly.
The door is wide open right now.
Yeah, you know, it's like, it's again, going back to the misconception of AI. Many people keep on thinking, okay, Hollywood has so doctrinized our head with like, okay, the end of the world, we're going to be taken over by these machines. We're going to be taken over by this. You know, it happened when they invented the telephone. It happened when they invented TV. It happened, they say that it was going to take over our minds, that we were not, when the internet was introduced, they said we were not going to get off it. You know what I mean? And so, but when you look at it, what it's done has been a transformation to lifestyles. And not only that, but AI, the reason why I love the introduction to it, Sarah, is because for so many years, we have been working in factories where in fact we are humans. And
Yes.
we can have machines doing something that the human shouldn't be doing. We are
Right.
people, you know, we have attributes that are so specific to a human. For example, when it comes to creativity, machines are not as creative as we are.
No.
When it comes to empathy, they have not come close to even reaching those grounds. And so when you think about those things, we have attributes that only are given to
Yes.
human beings. And we should embrace those things as opposed to being my mother that worked in a company for 25 years working machines. And so
Right.
that's the message.
And that's such a methodical process that, you know, a machine could be programmed to do, because it's just churning out, churning out, churning out, churning out. And, you know, what a waste of a mind to put a person in there when they could be so much more than just churning out, when a machine can do it. So, you know, we here, I've actually just watched a Russian show, Not Like Us, and it's about kind of robots taking over, and it's about one killer robot who's actually expanded in consciousness. It's fun. But the whole point was behind it is the people being afraid of the robots taking over. And the thing is look at it as a gift. They're taking over the monotony. They're taking over, you know, the mindless jobs. And they're allowing you to step up into creativity of exploring things that you never thought you could do in your life, because those kind of jobs are going to be non-existent anymore. So now what can you do? But I think that goes back to the limitation that people believe they're in. You know, as you said earlier, all computer people are nerds. You know, T-shirts in their mother's basement on the computer and don't know how to interact. And there are some people that are like that. I've actually done a show with someone who actually has a tech company. And it's about how the technical people can speak to non-tech people, right? And have that interaction. But then we've got somebody like you who's very gregarious and very well-rounded on the other side, who can bridge that gap also into the tech. So if we don't explore what our abilities are and what else is out there for us, it does stop resting on your laurels. You know, there's so much more to you than you thought there was there. And now the opportunity is here. But we don't like change.
No,
we don't like change. People fight it. Look what's going on in America right now. Fighting change left, right, and center. But I'm sorry, but when things stand still, they ferment.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Everything, our blood, our oxygen, our air, our waters, our current, everything has to flow. And that is including us.
Yes, you know, it's how they say, you know, we seek comfort. And when you really look at it, comfort is the enemy of progress. Right. Because when you stay stagnant, as you said, you stay the same, but you don't progress. Right. So that's where comfort comes in. You know, so you have to become discomfort, find discomfort, and be adjusted to it or welcome it in a way. In order to progress. And everybody, like an entrepreneur, I've seen that. You know what I mean? Because all of a sudden, because people, and see that, let's talk about entrepreneurial life. Okay, you go from a corporation that has you that takes care, like takes on any type of like risk. You know what I mean? Because it's a company that takes the risk, not you. You're just an employee. So we're used to just going there, getting our checks, and being told what to do. We don't deal with the advertisement. We don't deal with the work job, and so all of a sudden we're being introduced to the mentality of entrepreneurship. And so some people can't even imagine it because they go, oh, no. Like, for example, in 2008, I graduated, but the U.S. economy just went bad.
Oh, I know. That's when we got caught. Yes. Yeah, you know, and so I tried to apply for some, you know, after experience, a degree now, I'm on top of the world. But no, there was like over 200 people that were that were trying out for these jobs. And it was saturated. Yes.
You know what I mean? And so I was forced to go into sales and to pivot into sales, something that I had never done before. And I did that. So this is what it comes to, you know what I mean? Like you have to kind of, you know, they say that the difference between animals and humans is the ability for adaptability.
Yeah.
And so if that's our gift, if that's our strength, we need to use it.
Yes.
Humans are adaptable. We have adaptability in our blood. So we need to embrace it. We need to use it to our advantage. And this is exactly what happens. And so, Sarah, I wanted to tell you, right now, the biggest companies, specifically tech companies like Google, Facebook, Amazon, all these guys that are the big guys, they are no longer requiring computer science degree like mine.
Right.
To start working for them. So what does that tell you? That
Yes.
you really, literally can be a self-taught programmer. If you are diligent and you get certified and you really work at it, you can go directly to work in these big companies. So that's
and sometimes they actually prefer that you don't have anything because there's no bad habits to undo. And as long as you show the basic aptitude of being able to do it, they prefer to actually train you in the way they want you to do it with them. And so sometimes, you know, not being an expert is actually better because they can, you know, mold you to the way that they want you. There's been an awful lot of people that started off with Microsoft and then decided, you know what, I'm going out on my own. And of course, what people don't realize when you're an entrepreneur is how many hats you have to wear. And the more hats you have to wear, the more wobbly your neck is going to get. And this is where you have to learn then to delegate or find other people who can do things that you can't do very well and build a team, even if it's not under your umbrella, but, you know, contractors. But it's the willingness to take on all of those hats. And the fact that you had to go and be a salesman only adds to your resume of abilities that now you can apply. So I've interviewed so many people that have been big corporate people or even had their own companies. And through the cosmic 2x4, whether it was health or they lost everything or divorce or whatever, they ended up doing what they loved doing, right? Maybe making less money, but enjoying life and feeling so much more enriched because they weren't being a slave to that particular society. So whatever you're going to do, you still got to be a master over your own choices, over your own journey. And if you are working for a particular corporation that is just wanting you to churn out, and that's enough anymore, okay, then you move on and go and do something else. Don't become stagnant, don't become complacent, because those are things that are just going to stop you from doing anything in life. So there are an awful lot of people like yourself that have gone out on your own. You know, looked for an opportunity and created something else. And you don't know where it's going to take you if you're not willing to try. But as you said, you don't need to have the degrees anymore. You've just got to have basic knowledge and aptitude. Many people will hire people today on those that have more generalization, personal, you know, personality. That's very important, and an aptitude to learn.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, so, you know, and the thing about it too is that we, when you look at the statistics, we only have about 20% that are women. That's another thing, that we need more women in IT. And you know the irony, Sarah? A woman invented programming. so that's yes. I really want to promote that, you know, because some women that have tried, they have heard that it's difficult because it's a male dominant field. And many times anything dominant, you know, is going to have some opposition. And I understand that, but that's exactly why we need to do it. We need more women to come into doing this, because and you know, women always bring something special. Women always have, you know, I mean, you guys, since motherhood, since everything, I mean, I have noticed that women just are amazing at things that men just don't have.
We're very good multitaskers.
Yes, exactly.
We really are. You know, we really know how to juggle those balls, and that's something that I think is very integrated in us. And so we can see what, you know, the pattern, what needs to be done. And the old stitch in time before it gets out of line, you know, and I think that's the ability with a woman, is to see patterning and see where something is missing, and also to understand what needs to come first.
Yes, I think that, yeah, I believe that a lot of the natural instincts that a woman brings to a field are very necessary, because otherwise you're just dominated by one way of looking at it, you know. And I think that we're hurting. We're hurting by not having enough women. We're hurting by not having enough diversity as well. Diversity also brings another point. And this is the reason why I think we need to also get it all in the mix, because the more heads we have there, the more the variety, the more inclusion, the more diversity. And I mean this for everything, you know, it's going to make this future for us a lot better. And that way we don't just leave it to one type of people or one type of gender or one type of dominance, you know what I mean? And that's the reason why I also want to, you know, invite women, invite, you know, unrepresented minorities that, you know what, it's out there. If you have an internet connection,
yeah,
you should be able to, you know, start, because I mean, from YouTube to Udemy to Udacity, I mean, there are so many websites out there that have free. Oh yeah, and by the way, Ivy League universities are giving their classes online for free.
Right.
So that's another thing we have to take advantage of, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that you can work from home, right? And you can work on your own hours. So if you are a mother and you've got to work around school time or taking care time, you can do that. You know, some people prefer to have the days with the kids and work in the evening. So the whole point is that you can choose your hours. It's all about the production. Are you meeting the production? And if you're meeting the production, then it will come across. So we are going to be an awful lot more flexible in the future about this 9 to 5 or 40-hour weeks. It's going to be done, I think, more based on the project, right? The project of what you're doing, and not about the hours, but the project that you're doing and when the deadline in order to get it done, and you'll get it done how, when, and what, when you can. So there's so much change happening right now, which, you know, as I said, with a saying I have, that the universe is here to shake us up, to wake us up, for us to step up and change it up. We're at the step up change stage. And that step up stage is not only for the things that are wrong out there and the things that we have to put right, but also to look at our own lives and say, how am I going to step up on my own life? You know, I'm crying over a job I've left that I can't go back to. Well, what all this is a redirect in your life.
Yes.
A redirect to something else. And if you can say, you know, really coding isn't the type of thing I want to do, how do you know until you try it? Maybe it's something it's a stepping stone for you. You get into it and it opens doors up to other things, but you're not going to know unless you're willing to try. And the point is, there are jobs out there for you.
Yes.
And there will continue to be jobs out there for you.
Yes, and that's exactly like you mentioned, you know. It's amazing because nowadays you can just even live in a place, you know, this is another advantage that I wanted to point out. I live in Guatemala, and I don't have to worry about the economy in my country anymore. Now I can get myself so well educated and well ready for, you know, with certifications and abilities that we're entering a global economy.
Yes, we are.
You know, and that's something that I want to remind people, that there aren't that many fields that you can, I mean, this one is one of the strongest ones where you can be diverse. You can just come
borderless.
Yeah. You can, we're breaking the borders now, which had never been done before.
No.
You know, and now you can just, and you don't even need to be like, you know, you don't need to speak English as perfect as you need to, enough to communicate the information. And so, I mean, wow, you know, it's just like, I'm so excited about the future.
You know, as I say, when one door closes, another window or door opens. You know, there is a brilliant book, which if you ever have clients that find it really hard to adjust to change, and it's called Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson, MD.
I've read it.
It's great, isn't it? And I'm a True Colors coach as well, which is the 4 key personality traits that we have. And they match very much the characters in this book, which is 2 mice and 2 men over abundance of cheese. One day the cheese goes missing, and it's the reaction of each one of them. Now, we are each one of those personality traits. And if you're finding that you are finding it really hard to adjust to change, or you're mad at the change, which is what we're seeing in America right now, a certain demographic that is, you know, wanting us to go back 50 years rather than forward. And then you've got the other people that are just absolutely sniffing out and scurrying around that change and making it happen. And the others going, you know, if I don't change, I'm going to wither and die. So it's look to your own personality type and be honest with yourself. Which one am I, and what am I going to do about it? Because no matter what, you are going to have to change. No matter what you're doing, you've got to be flexible. You've got to be adaptable. It's everything. It doesn't matter what business you're doing right now. You've got to be willing to change. And if you find it difficult, then reach out to the people that can help you see the change as not an enemy, but as a gift.
Yes, and I'm sorry, like there's a big rainstorm that just appeared.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yes, and unfortunately we have some things that make a little bit of a noise on it.
That's okay. We know what it is. It's not aliens landing.
No, nothing of the kind. Just good old water.
Don't mind having a chat with them.
Nice. So yes, I believe that that's exactly as you mentioned. You know, we need to find, and what's beautiful about technology, Sara, is that it can embrace many different types of mentalities now, like creativity, and many others that you can just bring to the table.
Yes.
It's no longer just one. It's no longer just two. I mean, it's just, we are going to need all the creativity possible to make this even a better field than what it is right now.
Limitless.
Yes.
That is the new word, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. No limit. We have no limit. And anybody that is having trouble at home, that has a little extra time, this is the best time to, you know, invest, because it's an investment of time. That's all it is. It's an investment of time and focus that is going to require you to do this.
But aren't we also talking to people investing in themselves?
Yes, and that's exactly what it is.
Right. So, you know, right now, people are slowly coming out, depending where they are in the world. But it's about that investment of time. And that time that we've been given through a gift of COVID was a time to reflect, was a time to review, was a time to renew, and kind of look out, you know, my job isn't going to be the same. Maybe it's not going to be there. Or maybe I don't like that job anymore. Or maybe I would like to have more freedom in my life. Well, maybe coding is the way to do it, because I can do it anywhere in the world. I can travel. I can go and explore and do coding at the same time. So maybe I look at this opportunity as being a gift to explore my life further.
Yes, you made a good point. That's another great advantage of this. You can choose where you want to live. You can choose how you want to live. You can choose your hours a lot more flexible, because when it comes to coding, you got to just do it.
Yeah.
You don't have to like be in a building. You don't have to be at a certain time frame. You don't have to fight against traffic. You don't have to have a machine, have to, you know what I mean? Like have to worry about that machine taking you there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are so many, you know, and this is the reason why I want people to understand this change is bringing opportunity, not limiting us. It's like bringing the world, it's opening the world, it's opening the opportunities for anyone to do it, from any country, from any gender, from any socioeconomic,
any age.
Any age, even the age doesn't have to do with it.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Even our kids that, you know, I can guarantee you that my children, by the age of 18, I want them to have a job already, professional job, because I'm going to teach them before they get to that age.
Right there. And how many retirees are still having to work because of cost of living? You just can't possibly live on your retirement. But not only that, it's like, okay, you're put out to pasture. Well, what are you going to do now? Some people have wonderful hobbies and they can do that and they can afford them. Other people, you know, really do want to travel, but they can't really afford that. Well, they could pick up some coding jobs and do that while they travel, or that will allow them to travel or do other things that they want to do in their life and subsidize that income. It's also great for students. You know, they can take that and help pay if they're going through, you know, particular studies. And specializing in something, doing this coding in the background not only is extra money, but it's also something that helps train their minds into certain patterns that are only going to help them on anything else that they're studying.
Yes, exactly. It will complement. See,
yeah.
Coding, people think that coding is just like a programmer that sits in a cubicle all day and puts out the information. See, coding is, like I said, is a language. And so what it is that you're going to understand a problem and you're going to solve it using programming. That's literally what it is. Mm-hmm. So we're going to require people to put their heads together and actually come up with solutions and then just program the solution. Right. That's literally what it's going to come down to, you know? And I also think about, for example, single mothers that have children at home.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Imagine the flexibility and the freedom that this will bring for you. Like when the children are not, where they're at school, they're taking a nap, you can take that time and actually work and still be a full-blown, full functional mother.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know, and there's another question that I can feel in the back of my mind, people asking, yes, but if everybody's isolated at home, what happens to the camaraderie that you would get from work? You know, but that is where you now can go online with other coders, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on this and that. What's happening is network rooms that are happening where you can go meet other people. And if they're in your area, arrange to meet for coffee. I do that. I'm a podcaster. Right? I'm interviewing people everywhere in the world. But if I come across somebody in my neighborhood, we're in the neighborhood, let's go for coffee or a bite to eat. Otherwise, I'm online meeting people everywhere. So if that is important for you to have the interaction with colleagues, then find people in your network, that are in your home front and meet them. Otherwise, don't feel, well, I'm going to be isolated at home. No, there is so many networks out there of other coders that you can meet, and you can form your own group of support.
Yes, exactly. And it's interesting because before it used to be only limited to, like we said, the technical side.
Right.
But see, for example, now, because of the fact that we were talking about sometimes programmers don't have that social ability as developed as as other people in other fields, now there's such things as, for example, DevOps, which is people that bring people from the systems to the programmers. They have things, what it's called Agile and Scrum, which are, pretty much project managers that come in and just kind of understand the technology, are not programmers, but understand it enough to bring the information and the idea from like the stakeholders and transmit that information and help out so that the coders do it. So you don't have to even go deep into the language, but there's the social aspect, there's the creativity, there's the artistic, there's the versatile. There are so many levels that technology it's pretty much being versatile these days.
If you're a good salesperson, know some basic coding so you know what language you're talking to people, but be that salesperson, the person that needs the coding done with the person that are doing it. You're the broker. Technical
salesmen are some of the best paid people out there. And what they do is they go talk and they go just mention, they present, and cha-ching, there's a contract. I know because I used to be a contract salesperson. So yes.
So, you don't just have to be kind of just in the coding. There are so many other levels and layers around that. There's so many people that may come up with a program and then now they want to sell it or pitch it to another company. It's not just given what they want for coding, but somebody comes up with coding that now they want to sell it, especially like when it comes to apps and things like that. So having somebody that's a broker for that, which company would like that, or which company would get behind that? There are so many opportunities coming out of that. Had you told me years ago I would be a podcaster and do everything online, I would have laughed at you. But, it started with me kind of just being on somebody else's network live, which I called the soap opera training, because you've got to deal with live things happening right now. And then I started my own. Even when I started my own, I didn't know what I was doing. I felt my way. I learned as I went. So don't come into it thinking you've got to know it all. Come in with a willingness to start learning.
Yes, exactly. And so that's why I want I wanted to tell people that it's the best time to do it, because see, like, the resources are there.
Yes.
The community is there. The need is there. The future is there. And before, again, we were talking about, for example, in the U.S., it's very expensive to go to university. You know what I mean? It was for the people that could get the scholarship, or that could get the loan, the student loan, or the ones that had the parents that could support you. You know what I mean? It was a very limited people that had that privilege. Now with programming and with technology in general, with all this free resources, free classes, and educational platforms that are there to help us and to promote this kind of new revolution and new technology that is coming and interrupting, the job market, I think it's the best time to consider really jumping into this field, because it doesn't matter where you come from, you may actually be the perfect fit for what companies are going to need. And all you need to be... Oh, go ahead.
But you're saying about the language. It doesn't matter if you don't speak English, because the coding is a language itself. You're learning that language. Whatever your language is, coding is a language all of its own. So it doesn't matter if you don't speak English, or you're Hispanic, or whatever nationality you are. You might need obviously some translation and direction, right?
Yes.
But when it actually comes to the coding is
it's the same.
Language.
Universal.
Right?
Universal. Yes, that's exactly how it is. That's why I was mentioning that it doesn't discriminate.
Right.
It doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care where you come from, who you are, your social economics. It doesn't matter. If you show any type of, true intent and you invest in yourself and you develop your skills, people are going to recognize that. And all you have to do, and see, let me remind you, it is a language. Mm-hmm. You're talking about writing something so something can do it.
Yes.
That's what coding is about. You're telling something to do something. And if you already know how to communicate with every one of us you're already more than halfway there.
Yeah. And the other aspect of it too is that you may get really good at coding, and then afterwards you become the code fixer. You don't want to write the coding anymore, but when coding goes wrong and somebody says, what's wrong? Because some people just see the pattern. There it is,
Yes.
And then you become the fixer, and that's a really good paying job.
Right? Oh yeah, it's kind of like the video games back in the day. A lot of people thought it was a waste of time. Yep. Well, there's a lot of things now that can get transferred into money because of the video games.
Oh God, yes. Yes. I mean, my son was, he had the James Bond one, which I can't remember which one it was, but he had a room that all his friends came to play with. We called it the Bond room. But he actually contributes the game playing a lot to do with how well he drives, the way he looks at things, because of the strategy, the system and everything else. So gaming is, I think, even bigger than movies today. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, things are changing a lot. That's the reason why we have to embrace change. We have to be willing to try new things. We have to be willing to, before we have a negative attitude about something, be open, like you mentioned, open to something new, open to a new world, and be willing to find your new skills that you haven't found yet.
Right,
because
exactly.
a skill is not a skill until you develop it.
Yes. Well, I mean, let's go back to the miners. Generations and generations of coal mining, and here they are now, completely taking. Probably some of them didn't even know how to switch a computer on, and here they are now. Becoming coders and working technically. Did they know they could do it? No, but when you're willing to try. If you give it a try and you find out, no, it's not really for me, not this aspect, but what other aspect in this line of work can I do that really is my strength? But you're not going to know until you're willing to try.
Exactly. You look at people, Sarah. If you look at the last century, the beginning of the 1900s, I think it was like over 90% of the people made their lives through means of land. Cultivation, and farming. Most everybody, that's what they did. That's how you survive. If you were to bring one of those people from that era and brought him to today and this person saw people looking at a screen, talking to a machine, they would think it would be crazy. Yes. They would think it would be witchcraft or some other, some odd interpretation of human behavior. And so that idea brings you to understand that it's because sometimes we fear what we don't understand.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yes. And that fear blocks people so much. Main premises of these shows is break through the fear. Why are you afraid? So many people are afraid of fear itself. The what if, but. And I say, sit on your butt and change the tone of your what if. What if I can do this? What if it is the answer? What if it will lead me down the path instead of what if this could go wrong? But, we are our own enemy. We really are. And it's take that deep breath. Nobody's saying dive in. Dip your toe in. Just start it. But don't give up just on the first time round when you go, well, I couldn't do that. You don't know what you can do. It takes 3 months when you're on a nutrition for your cell structure to change. Right? So give something a 3 month for the mind to reprogram itself, to look at what is there and to look at the ability that you have within yourself. It's not like I tried it once and I gave up because I couldn't do it. It is try it until you've learned what you need to learn from it and what you really can do with it.
Yes, exactly. So I just wanted to share a little bit of my history so that people understand exactly what I'm talking about. So I was mentioning to you that I came back from Italy. I didn't have any direction. I didn't have a university in mind. I didn't even think if I was even going to go to college at this point. So my brother-in-law invited me to go to move up to upstate New York and start to read these books. After 6 months, I had read the books. I had certified myself in this field. And he said, hey, there's an opening for a job for network technician, which would require me to work with hardware and a little bit of the maintenance of the network. Well, you know what? I went there. And I pretty much sold myself. I said, listen, I have this certifications. I have this experience. I can do this. And you know what? The only thing I had done, Sarah, I had grabbed 2 towers, old computer towers, and I had connected them. And I had, I found out what a network was. And that was my experience. I want to tell everybody to make sure they understand. That was my experience of network administration. And so what I did is I had, but the difference was I had a lot of self-awareness. I believed in myself, and I believed in my work ethic. And so this is what I transmitted to the IT director that gave me the job.
Yeah.
I went
the
there.
The willingness, right?
Yes, because I didn't have anything. I mean, I had nothing to support myself saying I am a network technician. I'm into computers. Nothing, Sarah, nothing. So this is the reason why I'm telling you that when you give yourself a try, I mean, I was supposed to go, I thought I was going to be a lawyer. Because see, when I was in high school, I was a debate national champion, Southwest Championship. I took it like a storm. So I was able to communicate. So I thought I was going to be a lawyer. And so when they told me about computers, I was like, well, I'm not an engineer. I'm not you know what I mean? But I said, no. This is an opportunity. I'm jumping into it. You know what, Sarah? A year later, I became the network administrator of the biggest freight company in the East Coast. I had terminals from Maine to Atlanta, 31 interconnected to my New York network, and I was responsible for the entire computer infrastructure at 22.
Right.
With only like under a year of experience. Right. When I went to the first corporate meeting, that CEO, CFO, TEO, the owner, they were all looking at me because this is like a multi-million-dollar company. The revenue was 1.7 million a day. So that means if I didn't do my work correctly, that's the money that was at stake. And they looked at me, and I was 22, looking really young, looking really not experienced at all. And they looked at me, and one had the courage to say, fellas, are we really going to trust this young guy with the entire network and all the data that has to do with our company? And before anybody could answer, I said, yes, sir, you will. I have experience, and I know how to do this job well. And that was the end of it.
Yeah.
That was the end of it.
You know, they always say to people, the first impressions, 55% is how you present yourself, right? And it's not the Armani suit. You can present yourself in the t-shirt, but it's your confidence in yourself. 37% is the tone of voice. Is it welcoming? Is it inviting? 7% is only the content. They're not even going to get to the content if they haven't bought the first percentage, right? So you go in with belief in yourself. You set the tone in which you wish to have people listen to you, and then you speak enough content that buys them over to believe in you. And that's really what it is. A lot of people go in with this huge resume, and no, that shows me you have the ability to learn. But do you have the wisdom to know how to use this knowledge and application?
Yes, exactly. And so that's exactly my story, and that's how I started. Then I went and moved to Houston, Texas, and I took over a high voltage power engineering construction company with over 130 engineers, with a lot of intelligent people with university degrees. I didn't have one. And I was responsible to support all these engineers. So as I can tell, I'm here to tell you that because that's how I did it. Finally, after I worked in that company for 3 years, I decided, okay, I felt kind of weird because this is 2004. You know, they still want university degrees. Even though my experience was already fully developed, that I could have kept on going only that way because I already had formed my resume strong, I decided to go back to university, and I went and got a computer science degree. And I told you, which is funny, after I graduated, I changed careers, and I went into, sales, which is something that I've never done before. So now I want to bring it to the present day. I came back to my country because I wanted to work in a nonprofit organization that was helping Central American division, people from Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, Guatemala, and Belize. And we were bringing them in and helping them how to learn English so they could have call center jobs in English, and they could change their lives completely. So it was a 4-month program, and once they graduated, they were 92% of my students had a job placement. So it was just beautiful. And so that's something that, it was a shift also because I was already an engineer. I was already a salesman, and I became the coordinator of 7 teachers in a nonprofit, which was beautiful. I love that time. After that, I decided, okay, it's time for me. I decided to go and open my own business. I opened a small retail store that I had been working with for 5 years now. But because of the COVID, it just went down. It just went down. And now it's like my business is gone. Already retail was already having a difficulty. If you remember last year, 2019, many of the big corporations that were retail went down. So as you can see, you never know what is going to happen.
There is no security.
You never know when they're going to move your cheese, right, Sarah?
Yeah, exactly.
You never know. And right now, I'm in the transition. See, web development consulting was only a side gig. Now it's turning into a full-blown business. And now, because I have the experience of corporate level, sales, starting a business, and having the experience of how to coordinate with people and being a director, you know what? I'm ready for this. And not only that, but you know what? When you interact in LinkedIn and read all the posts from so many entrepreneurs, you read so many books, and you are being exposed to so many things, you gain the confidence.
Yes.
You gain the confidence of starting your own thing, because now that it's in style. Like you no longer have to work. It's not the old mentality where you had to go to school, a nice school, get in debt, get a degree, get a job, stay in that corporation, wait until, you climb the corporate ladder and somehow just end up there until, you're retired, kind of like my mother did, That's the old school style, It's like me that.
And who has a job from beginning to end in one company anymore?
Not anymore.
Rare. There are no gold watches anymore.
Exactly. And so as you can see, things have changed drastically. So we should look at things as, and you know what? I'm very happy, Sarah. I'm very happy for what is happening. I'm very excited for where technology is taking us. I'm very happy the opportunity that is given us to every one of us that didn't have like the money, don't come from money, don't come from privilege. I come from a broken home. I'm a U.S. immigrant. You know what I mean? I am somebody that I'm a Latino, I'm a minority. I mean, I could go on and on with all my oppositions that I've had. You know what I mean? There are so many oppositions that I've had in my life, but you know what? I'm also the story, the success story. I'm also the guy that decided to take on the opposition. I'm the guy that decided not to give up, not to give in, not to allow his environments, but to create and have a beautiful future. And you know what? I'm doing it. I want to tell people I'm doing it. And that's because I believe in myself first and believe in my ability and my talent, my God-given talents that we all have. From creation, we were created to be creators. We were given special gifts to develop. And so none of us came here with nothing. It's just that we have to be willing to embrace those things and put in the time and effort to make them worthwhile, because everything that's worthwhile takes time and effort.
Yes, and the willing to go through the process. And I said everybody's given is an instrument. And our self-discovery and going through life, the ups and downs, is discovering what our instrument is, learning to play it well and bringing it to the orchestra of life. And you might have more than one instrument that you have the ability to do, but it doesn't matter whether it's the triangle or soloist, everybody's important in that orchestra. But you need to know what your instrument is. Yes. And, it isn't just your job title. It's your passion, it's your conviction, it's your camaraderie, it's your collaboration. It's your caringness and kindness. We are seeing business conducted on a totally different level now. It is about people and planet before profit, because nobody wants to be seen as the profiteer anymore at the expense of people. It's out of fashion, folks. It is about investing in people, investing in communities, investing in the planet, and showing how we can work together. And even if you're isolated, so supposedly doing coding, you're still part of a community that is investing in the planet, in the lives of others, that then is in turn an investment in yourself.
Yes, exactly. And that's why I love it, Sarah, because this is the time for someone to decide to change their life and to change careers and to be adventurous. You know what I mean? It's like I'm an extreme sports fanatic. You know what I mean? I love, they call it adrenaline junkie, whatever. Yeah. I love it because you know why? It makes me feel alive. It makes me enjoy. I love like scuba diving because it takes me to a different world where I'm in. I love traveling because it takes me to different cultures, which is not my own. That's why I love learning languages, because it just exposes me to the planet that I live in. And there's so much beauty around us, and there's so much, like so many things to learn. The more I learn, the more I understand that I don't know. And so it excites me.
But that is exciting, because you imagine if you reach a certain age, well, I know everything, I don't need to know anything anymore. How utterly boring. I am 65 and I'm still going, and I love all of these shows because I learn something every time, and it's exciting, and it's about energy, not the physical energy, but about the emotional energy that we share with one another, that raises the frequency, raises the good vibrations, raises us up into that love hertz. And if we've got a passion about what we do, we bring that passion to our community, and everybody is better off for it. So forget about complacency and security and fear and all of that. Just flush that down the drain. Be willing to just take a chance on something and see where it leads you. Don't dictate your life. Explore your life, one step at a time. Now, how do you guide people to be a free coder, you know, to learn this? This is your passion, but how are you guiding people along that path?
Okay, so what I'm starting to do, see, I started doing some videos I'm starting to, like, slowly but surely, because see what I did before, you know, being in LinkedIn, which is my main platform, because it is of the professionals, and it is where the recruiters are and everything. I think that that's why I focus on LinkedIn a lot. But what I'm going to start doing, and then eventually I'm going to venture into YouTubes and you know, Instagrams and all that good stuff. But I wanted to be good at something first. And this is the reason why I have been, since last year, I have been investing a lot of time in the networking and getting to myself known, and reaching out to the world and knowing different, you know, professionals. And what I'm going to start doing, I just finished my 30 days of videos challenge. I recently started, and it was just an amazing experience. And that got me to the level of being able to express myself, not only in writing, but also be able to come out and show the world a little more personality, a little more of myself, you know, a little more of my energy that I want to be contagious with, you know, the positivity that we all have, that we can all share. So what I'm doing is I'm introducing slowly but surely, kind of like what we did today, you know, Sarah, giving another light, you know, giving another light of understanding the differences of what it used to be and what it is now. So I'm doing a lot of videos. I'm going to be doing tutorials. As I mentioned, I'm going to use my mother as my social experiment, as in to show that everybody can do it, no matter what age, no matter what profession, no matter what time in your life. I'm 43, and I'm switching from systems engineer. That's what I used to do, because that's even different. You know, systems engineer, you work with servers, you work with infrastructures. I'm going for systems engineer and changing to software engineering, which is a whole different ballpark. And this is another reason people say you're too old. You know, once you get to a certain, once you get to a certain age, it's too late to start. No, I'm here to tell you
that's obsolete. That is obsolete thinking completely. Yeah, I mean, you know, also so many people are getting married later. I have one daughter that's married in her 30s. I have another daughter may never marry. She's 37. My son's 35 with his business. That's his baby right now. You know, a lot of people are just, there is no norm. And that's what I love, because the norm wasn't working. It was limiting. And I love the fact that we don't have a norm. And people talk about a new norm. Let's take norm out of it altogether.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Let's look at, you know, creativity. And creativity comes out of Haglass, which is the disruption rune. And we're in chaos right now. And you can never have creativity without chaos. And out of every chaos always comes a thread of creativity that serves a purpose. So be willing to serve a purpose by looking at the opportunity in the chaos that you can do that can now serve a bigger purpose.
Yes. And so yes, exactly that. You know, like if it hadn't been for the COVID-19, I would have never gotten online with people like you and many other professionals that have had time to actually get online and interact and talk and get to know each other. I have dumped a lot of information on them. They have dumped a lot of amazing experience on me. And this is what we're doing. We're no longer competing. We are collaborating.
No, I hate that word. Collaboration.
We are collaborating, Sarah. This is beautiful.
Yes.
You know? We are here to help each other. We are here to lift each other up.
Inspire, ignite. Yeah, exactly. Explore.
Those are the new norm. You know, if they want to talk about norm, it's not being norm. You know what I mean? Like,
but in a lot of words, what we're doing now with everything that we're doing is open sourcing.
Yes.
Because the more you help somebody else thrive, the more that person then has the ability to help somebody else thrive. It's not about, well, what am I going to get out of you? It's about, here I am sharing me, you take me, apply it in whichever way you want, share whatever you get out of it with someone else, and keep that ripple effect moving. That's what it's about.
Yes, somebody did it with me, and I need to do it with many. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And
Exactly.
I always live by those beautiful words. The
Yeah.
more the more you give, the more you receive.
Yes.
And it's a beautiful secret that is out.
Yes. Yes.
You
The
know,
more abundant you are, the more your cup runneth over. You know, we've gone past this sacrilege and servant type attitude. It's be abundant as you can. Look after yourself. Be full of everything. And then bring that passion and that conviction and that ability to the table to share. You know, we want to feast off each other, not in a way like vultures, which we've seen in the past, but in a way of camaraderie. Our camaraderie and sharing, and you know, being able to say, you're looking for something, I can help you, or you should meet so and so. I love what you're doing, I've got to tell people about it. That is the collaboration that we're looking for right now. It's not about me, myself, and I. You know, the glum has gone. We have those ivory towers that we're seeing right now, they're crumbling. This is about how I can bring to my community to make my community better. When I say community, I mean global.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
And it's about what can I contribute in this dish of life that we can now share out with everyone else, that everybody gets something out of it.
Yes, then that's what's beautiful. But that's what makes life beautiful, Sarah.
Yes.
That's what makes life beautiful. When you understand those words that we just spoken, when you live those words, when you experiment those words, when you're a part of that system where you're no longer looking out for yourself, but we're a community, a world community. I've always said, you know, in my Who Am I video a few days ago, I said, I am a citizen of the world. You know, I'm a child, you know, I'm a child of God. I represent humanity. You know what I mean? Because that's who I am, and that's what I'm part of. And so that's why I even made it. My last video was a collaboration of dancing with, I had Latino, Black, White, and Asian. And I said, what happens when you unite those beautiful races? You know, you get a beautiful, strong collaboration that just makes and creates beautiful things.
Yes.
And so that's exactly what we're working on.
Yeah. And you know, this whole goddamn thing about racism, you know, you are the culture and the skin that you're in. I am that. This is the packaging. But I respect the packaging, but I don't judge you by that. I actually go into, where's your character, your heart, and your spirit? That's what I want to communicate with, right? Yeah. The packaging is just kind of your spicing of what you're bringing to the table. So if we could get over this bloody division of color, of race, of economics, of sexuality, of religion, with all of this, do we not understand those have been every single things that have held us back and suppressed us? Yes. And we are bursting from the seams right now and saying no more.
Yes, exactly. And, you know, because it's limiting. It's limiting. Yes. And it's destructive too.
Yeah, it's extremely destructive because you can't be constructive.
Yeah.
Right.
We cannot collaborate because we start putting butts and ifs and we put barriers and we put, you know, divisions and we put interpretations.
Yes.
And that's not good. That's not good.
No, it doesn't help anyone. You know, the more, I mean, I do a lot of shows just simply on love and caring. I did one before this right now, which is a fantastic business that came about out of a need, and it's called the Caring Bridge. And it's simply a caring bridge for, like, if you've got somebody in hospital and you're far away and you can't see them, an update of communication that's constantly going on. It's a nonprofit organization. Somebody saw a need. I love it when somebody sees a need, because out of what is missing, somebody creates what we need to have. And when it's done with heart and it's done with passion, you have no idea how big those wings are going to get.
Yes, exactly. Two things that they say that we should, that the human being needs is to be loved and to be needed. And both of those are given to you when you are in service of others, because people will love you for being good, and people will need you because you're providing a service, because you're giving something, because you're doing that. And if you have those two things, there is no way you can be unhappy. There is no way you can be traumatized. There's no way you can have any type of psychological deficiency. You know what I mean? Because
you're full. You're full.
You're complete.
You're abundant. You're enriched. Yes. You know, I will admit my bank account doesn't match the abundance that is within me. But what really counts is, as long as I have enough, this is where my enrichment is. This is where I'm meant to be. This is what I love doing. This is what I love sharing. And when we find that instrument, we're going to play it in a way that's going to be so invitational to other people. And that's what it is invite. We've had segregation everywhere for so long, and we just don't want it anymore. Rise up Andrea Day, rise up. Right? Rise up to
Yes.
that other frequency of kindness, caring, and givingness. When you're working on this vibration, you can't knowingly do harm to anyone else. All you want to do is help people be the best they can be.
Yes, yes. And that's, and you become the best you are.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like you develop everything that you were meant to be. It's like people say, follow your passion, follow your purpose.
Yeah.
Well, that is your purpose.
Yes.
To become the best human being possible, to be the best that, you know, to get to a level where you can serve better, you can give more, that you can be, you know what I mean? Gandhi said it, you know, be the change you want to see in the world.
100%.
Don't be
100%.
looking for somebody else to do it.
Nope,
don't expect the government. Don't expect your religion. Don't expect your friends. Nobody. You know, expect it from yourself. Be that person.
Yes. And don't compare. Don't criticize. Don't judge. Right? No. I am enough in my light. If I'm not enough for you, I'm not the right light for you. You need a different torch. That's all there is. Right? And that you are enough as long as you are standing in your own light and sharing that light. Do not compare. Oh, I wish I was a this, or I wish I was that. The moment you start getting into I wish, you are going into lack. Yes. When you're in lack, it starts dividing. Yes. Am I everything I would like to be? No. I'd like to be tall, slender, and skinny and younger. Yes, that would be nice. But that's not the fact. I am me in all my roundness, age, whiteness, and abundance, and that is what I have to give, and that is enough. Thank you. But we also can accept that that isn't our cup of tea from other people. That's all right. You know, you're not wishing them any harm. It's just not your musical note. It doesn't play your music, right? But that doesn't mean you put them down because they're different. It doesn't mean that you judge them because they're doing something differently. The thing is, there's enough diversity to go around with everyone.
Yes, exactly. And so that's exactly why, and I think we're heading there, Sarah. I think we're heading there. We're you know, technology has provided us with the opportunity for me to be in Guatemala,
yes,
to have a face-to-face conversation with you, and for people to listen to our conversation
anywhere in the world.
Yes. And so we, you know, and that's why I love about this technology and what it's bringing to us. And that's why I want people to be part of that, because there are no limits. There's only discovery. There's only abundance is what I want to portray. You know what I mean? Because really the limitations, as you mentioned, most of the times we're the ones that make those limitations.
Right. Exactly.
Only because we believe them, not because they're there.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. We're looking for permission. We're looking, you know, to be more than we are. Well, just accept yourself, who you are, why you are, and explore. You can always make yourself better, but that doesn't mean you're not enough.
Yes.
Right? And, you know, bridge the gap. This is what technology is doing. I laugh because I've been doing Zoom videos now for a while, 5 years just audio before I went over to Zoom. And, you know, now you're seeing all of the TV stations doing their shows by Zoom, right? And you're saying, oh, a little Zoom show. Now we're seeing everybody doing it. But you know what I'm liking is that they are actually having deeper conversations than they are in the studios. In the studios, it's always got to go to commercial. You've only got 5 minutes. And, yeah. All right. And now we're seeing people without the hair, without the makeup, being able to have this conversation. And it's great because it's taken away some of those boundaries. And, you know, the boundary is I'm here. This is where my love is. Come and reach me. I will wrap everybody else into it. But if you're in a state of hate, I'm sorry, I can't go there.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so it's beautiful, like I said. And so going back to your question, the link that I would like you to share, as I mentioned, is freecode.com, freecode.org. I keep on thinking it's com. It's a beautiful, structured, you can say
FreeCodeCamp
program.
Actually.
FreeCode. Oh gosh, I'm
FreeCodeCamp.org.
FreeCodeCamp.org. I'm like just in my mind. It's very structural. It's very friendly to anybody that has no clue what they're doing. Mm-hmm. It starts you off with HTML, which is like the first language, markup language, which is the structure of every web page. And it really, even HTML is pretty simple to understand. And if you look at how many companies need people just on HTML, you're amazed at how many are needed. And so it starts you out with HTML, CSS, which is the styling, the coloring, and all that good stuff about a web page. And then it goes into JavaScript and a little bit of the libraries and a little bit of the frameworks. And then once you're there, once you're in JavaScript, which is one of the most versatile languages that are computer languages in the web today, you can pick and go everywhere. And there are many languages, like even Python, which is one of the most needed right now because of machine learning and AI. It's pretty straightforward, Sarah. It's like, it's English, straight English. So it's like, people just need to come in with a clear mind, with willing to give it a real chance, with an abundance mentality, trusting in your ability to learn, trusting in the skills and gifts that have been given to you, that you can do it, and just give it time. You know what I mean? Give it your genuine effort and follow their curriculum. It is a very beautiful designed structure that you can follow without any prior experience.
Right.
And the greatest thing about it is a nonprofit. Now you can donate whenever and when you can, however much you want, but they will be willing to wait for you until you get a job.
Exactly.
They're there to help, to promote, to educate, and to expand the education when it comes to computer programming, Sarah. And that's the reason why I shared this nonprofit, because it's there free of charge, with no strings attached. You're there just to get what they're offering. And really, they have a community behind them. There are many articles that they have written. There are many videos that they have shared, and everything is accessible to anybody, anywhere in the world.
You know, we've become this instant society, like we want everything right now. And you know what, in the last 2 or 3 months, an awful lot of people have got COVID weight. And just because now you've been set free, you can go out, doesn't mean you're going to drop the weight just like that. It took you 3 months to get it. It's going to probably take you 3 months to take it off. So please don't go in with looking at it as a quick fix. Go and look at it as a change of lifestyle, an opportunity, an exploration of where it can leave you, not a dictation. That's got to go. An exploration of where it can take you. This might be all you do, the HTML, and you start doing websites, or it may take you into something further. You don't know until you're willing to explore. So go in with an exploratory mind. Don't sell yourself short. You can do this. It's just a question of reprogramming your mind to the language of programming.
Yes, exactly. And you know, and in this site, once you start exploring a little bit of like what community is offering, they also always tell the success stories of the people that were like veterans that were retired, people that were retired, people that have been laid off, women that come and men that come from different fields that were never expected to be that. And you know what's crazy? A lot of these stories have happened in 6 months to a year.
Well, imagine, you know, people on disabilities. You know, disability coverage sucks as well. And the thing with people with disabilities is the feeling of uselessness, because you can't do what you used to do. So, you know, take what you can do and do something else and give yourself some meaningful purpose plus some income.
Yes, exactly. So you know, and I'm talking about computer programming today, but you know what? Technology right now is opening the doors to everybody with every kind of experience, with every kind of talent and skills. I mean, right now, if you look at it, I mean, the best university is YouTube. It has like some of the best people, the most experienced people in so many fields that you could just get started. And once you get started, you'll start to notice.
You have no idea where you're going to go, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like the world is yours. You know what I mean?
It's your oyster. It's waiting for you. Come on, get going. One foot in front of the other, right?
Yes, exactly.
Now, how do people get hold of you?
They can get a hold of me on my profile, LinkedIn profile, Dimitry Ortiz. I'm there. They can.
Can you spell it just for people who might have a difficulty in spelling it?
Dimitry is Dimitry. And my last name is Ortiz, Ortiz. And you can find me there. I have my profile there. I've started doing a lot of videos. So please, there's a hashtag, which is do programming. And so you want to follow that. I'm going to be creating a lot of videos relating to computer programming. I'm going to make it accessible, approachable. I told you I'm going to take on myself the challenge of teaching my mom how to code. And I believe I can do it. I know I can do it.
The willingness is there, right?
Yeah. So I want to show that as an example. I'm there for anybody that needs help, that anybody that wants a little bit of direction. I can help you. I am there. This is what I do. This is what I want to do. I have my business on the side, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to just promote the option and the choice that people have and the chance that you can, change your career, start a new career, start a new path, start to get to know technology, because it's going to blow up even more than what it is right now. It's going to affect everybody.
Absolutely. And with so many people's job loss at the present moment, just look at what is your redirect. Do not be afraid of a redirect. A redirect is there for a reason. It's going to take you down a different path. And through that exploration of that other path, you're going to learn skills and tools that you can apply who knows where. But you're not going to know where unless you're willing to participate. A lot of people want the answers in life, but they're not willing to participate in their own lives and do the work that they need to do to get where they want to go. A lot of people have a preconceived idea of where they want to go. By whose expectation? Society's? We know society's expectation is, quite honestly, right now needs to be flushed down the drain, right? Because now it's a stepping into light, it's a stepping into your beautiful music, it's becoming part of the orchestra, and it is about service.
Yes.
Being the most that you can be so that you can serve others. And that is where the true abundance is. So no excuses, just give it a try.
Yes, exactly. And the message that I wanted to bring today is, don't get a job to make money, get a job to learn. And that's what I've done in my days, because learning is more valuable. Money, you'll make it and you'll spend it. You'll have it like I've had it, and you'll lose it in the next moment. But your knowledge and experience will never go away. And if you're somebody that is even more abundant with that, you understand that you'll even take it even after this. And so everything is an experience. And so make sure that you invest in yourself too, because see, at this moment, before we used to work for companies and make other people rich. See, now you have to work on yourself. In other words, making yourself a better person.
Enriching yourself.
Enriching yourself. So make sure that when you choose a path, when you choose a career, make sure that it is so that you learn, so that you become better, so that you understand more, and so that you can do more and just abundantly take from what is there.
Yeah, and put away the word normal or boundaries or limitation. The sky's the limit. We have no idea where we can go. Actually, the universe is the limit. So we have no idea where we're going to go. And the thing is, just be willing to be a part of that. We are designed to be explorers. We are designed to be creators. We are designed to think out of a box. We are people who have absolutely incredible awesomeness within us. And it's time that we step into it. So thank you so much, Dimitry, for sharing with us today.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for the opportunity. It has been a great pleasure to be talking to somebody so positive, optimistic, and beautiful as you are.
Thank you very much. So it's freeCodeCamp.org, right? And Dimitry Ortiz, sorry?
Yeah, freeCodeCamp.org.
FreeCodeCamp, not coding, freeCodeCamp.org, and just check it out. And if they want to reach you, they can reach you on LinkedIn at Dimitry Ortiz. Watch some of your videos, reach out and have a conversation. And remember, nothing comes to you. We've come to you, but you had to be willing to listen. Interaction is what we're looking for with people. Interaction, because you have no idea who's going to open up that opportunity for you or open up your mind until you're willing to interact with them. So reach out, interact, explore, spread those wings and discover. So thank you, Dimitry, and to everyone else, see you next time. We hope you enjoyed the show. We look forward to bringing you more shows. Please go to selfdiscoverymedia.com/shows and you will see the incredible lineup of genres and shows that we have for you. We are here to make a difference in your life. Thank you for listening.